co-chair. Brian has been instrumental in the Blue Zones project since the beginning and has been very involved. And we asked him to kind of rally the troop today and kind of start us off with that awesome motivational speech. So take it away, Brian Ice.
Yeah, no pressure there. Thanks a lot, Shannon.
Right.
But yeah, like Shannon said, my name is Pastor Brian Ice. Many of you know who I am, whether you're happy about that fact or not. But it's good to be with you guys today, and we stand in the shadow at this point of 2020, of what was 2020 for all of us, for different reasons, good, bad, indifferent, whatever those might be. But here now we have the opportunity in 2021 to come together as Blue Zones, to pick up those pieces that maybe we had to set aside in 2020 and wait, the walking moais, the things that we weren't able to do. And Shannon and I have been working on walking moais with the pastors, and having pastors do a little lead thing beforehand, and then going out and walking together. And I think, we really have an opportunity now to make a huge difference in 2021, especially since 2020 was what it was. So, I want to thank all of you for your time, effort, and energy into Blue Zones. And let's make 2021 a Blue Zone year, where we really put those pieces together, and we come together in health and fitness and wellness, and move Corry into that Blue Zone approval. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian. And you said it, this past year was difficult for a lot of people, and I always look for the silver lining. And if the pandemic had to give us one, this is it, that people are anxious. They're focused on their health and well-being. They want to get out. They're ready to make those connections. So we're just going to ride the wave, folks. So we feel good about moving into this third year of our project. I kind of want to take us back, though, to the very beginning of time when the Blue Zones project came to Corry. And I want you to think about what inspired you. What were you passionate about when you heard about Blue Zones coming to Corry? What were your hopes and dreams? And if you wouldn't mind sharing, a couple of you, we would really appreciate it. But we just want to hear from you about why this matters to you and why you think this matters to the Corry community. Would anyone be willing to share?
All right, I will. I thought Corry has two populations, one that's very enthused and believes in the town and wants everything to be better, and the other thinks Corry is not a good place and doesn't really care, and they just want to complain about everything. I was hoping that we could get more people shifted over to the positive side and really create some community spirit and momentum. And it's sort of like the Mayor Mitchell plan. If Dave was here, he'd be giving his vision speech right now. And I don't have it memorized, but he does want to bring in new industry, new families, and make Corry a more positive place. And I thought, and I still think, this is a really good place to start, but it's really essential that we get as many people pulling the oars as possible. It can't just be the steering committee. It has to be the men and women on the street. So that's what we still need to shoot for.
Right, absolutely. And I think that we're in a good place now. It was difficult during the pandemic to have that broader reach, because we know we had challenges during COVID. It was difficult to really continue that momentum when there were a lot of people that didn't have access to Wi-Fi. They couldn't participate in virtual activities. So we did our best working with a lot of community partners to keep people engaged, to continue to provide great resources to folks. But I appreciate what you shared, Hoop. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to share what the Blue Zones Project means to them personally, or maybe to the broader community?
This is Tina Freeman. I'd kind of like to add that one of the things that I was hopeful in seeing was more of a positive camaraderie between many people. There's a lot of people who, and I agree with Hoop, that honestly go the negative route and complain about whatever might be out there, but don't actually participate. And so I was kind of hoping that it would bring more of that. that it would bring more of those people that may have some great ideas that could bring to the table that would help more of a positive camaraderie in Corry. And that's pretty much what I was hopeful for.
Right.
And hopeful for.
Yeah. And I think that, Tina, I don't know if you've seen some changes with that or if you're seeing the dial move, but I can tell you that, I think that Blue Zones has been successful in bringing a lot of different people around the table to provide resources and to collaborate on some of the projects that we can collaborate on together. And I'm looking at like Alex Whipple right now, and things that we've done through the ministerium. As I look at Peter Albright and Brian Ice, I mean, these were all things that, we've had people in the community really step up to make that happen. So the camaraderie and creating those partnerships, I think that we're really working hard to see that happen, and we want that to continue. Anyone else care to share?
Yeah, I can jump in. This is Linda. Beth?
Yes. Okay.
Well, first of all, your first question was, why did you want to become involved? When you first heard about it, I was very involved with Dan Whitner's first book and his first project. So I saw that as an opportunity for Corry to, jumping off your point, Shannon, for us to collaborate, knowing the strong sense of community and looking at Blue Zones and how they started with one just small photographer, and that just went into so many different directions and countries and states. And I am glad to be a part of that. Also knowing that change takes a long time. So when I became involved, I knew this was going to be a long project. But as I reflect back, thank you, Pastor Eisner, because I'm thinking about 2019, 2020, we have accomplished so many things in our Blue Zone meetings, and they've come to actual, volition. They're real. We're looking at them now. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this.
Thank you for sharing, Linda. We appreciate that. Anyone else before we move on? Anyone else care to share?
Well, this is Peter.
Okay, Peter, go ahead.
Real quickly, and I agree 100% with what everybody has said. I would just underscore that there are a lot of organizations and businesses in Corry who are striving hard to improve the community. I'm sort of, I guess, a new implant here about 30 years ago, maybe. And I was hoping and see that Blue Zone sort of provides a rallying pole, not just for individuals, but also for organizations. And I think you touched on that, Shannon, but it's worth underlining. Thanks.
All right. I appreciate that. Anyone else? Someone else was going to jump in there and I cut you off.
Yeah, it's me, Dan Dom.
Okay, Dan.
Working with the district now 25 years. Former health teacher prior to the, to start here. If you don't have your health, you don't have much else. And, I think that everything starts with that. And programs like this are really encouraging, especially for our youth. Build habits early and they carry on throughout life.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I recently had an opportunity to be in one of the local churches at a youth group meeting, and I was really inspired by how engaged these teenagers were, and they were asking all the right questions, and they were involved and, wanted to know more. And I feel like we could have stayed there for hours just having really good conversation. So it is about reaching those younger folks so that we can help to create healthier habits that can carry them into adulthood. So thank you, Dan, for sharing that. All right. Anything else before we move on? We're going to talk a little bit about our strategy. And we got Coach Eberline here. She's going to talk about that playbook that hopefully you had a chance to look at. Give me a second. I'm going to try to pull that up. But Jennifer, you want to take it away and I'll get you your document.
Sure. I was going to say, I'm going to take credit or not take credit. I'm the one that sort of put this document together. I am not the most creative. I'm not a Shannon in putting this. So it's very simplistic, but wanted to lay out, just what our metrics are. What do we need to do to finish, cross over that finish line for Corry to become a certified Blue Zones project community. And there's many metrics, and Shannon will scroll down just a second, but basically there's going to be metrics around people. So Shannon's engagement, outreach to people in the community around places, so the schools, restaurants, grocery stores, work sites, and around the policy work that Ashley does. So the walk and bike ability of a community, the built environment, the food policy, access to healthy fruits and vegetables and healthy foods, and tobacco policy. Those are the main 3 areas we're going to focus on today, but there are also some other metrics that are specific to the Corry community, and there's also some well-being metrics. So we're not going to go into this full detail, but I just want Shannon to scroll a little bit. I'm hoping you had a chance to look this over. If you haven't, please make sure you go back and look. To the right of every metric or every goal we're trying to achieve for certification, you'll see a blue box, and you're either going to see a check mark, which means, we met that certification requirement, or you're going to see it's in progress. And Shannon can talk a little bit more in detail about her numbers here, but overall, I just want to mention, hey, by the end of the project, we need to outreach to 1,350 people. So we do that by engaging them to take a personal pledge or participate in a walking group or a healthy potluck group or do a purpose workshop. Shannon will talk a little bit more about that. But as you read through this little playbook, we wanted to highlight some of the organizations and the ministerium and work sites that we've engaged the Blue Zone story with already. So if you see a group in there that's missing, Shannon's going to talk about that. Who are we missing? Who are we not outreaching to? So I know Shannon's going to touch on that. And, one of our other metrics is media stories. Even though we've met our 10 or more major media stories, we're going to keep pushing through and just keep showing that Corry pride. So it's nice we met that metric. When we move into, I believe, places, this is my area. I tried to put a chart here so to outline, so who we've been engaged with in terms of larger employers. And right now we define larger employer as 30 or more employees, and we need to have at least 10 of those work sites become what we call Blue Zones project approved. So this just lets you know where they are in the process. I'm expecting hopefully by the end of April, we'll have the Corry YMCA be our number 4 approved, but Corry Counseling was our first approved work site. Dini Machining technically was our first manufacturer, and I know they're on the phone call, so thanks Frank and Janet for being here, and thank you for partnering with us. Karen, thank you also from Corry Counseling Services. I know you're on the phone, and then from Corry Memorial Hospital, I think Barb, you're on the phone. They were our 3rd approved. So a lot of really neat, great things going on there, but just I'm going to talk about my ask, so we'll keep going through. So just want to let you know where we're at with those stages. So I might have Shannon pull this back up later. Down here, the school district, the primary is already an approved school, and hopefully soon here, the intermediate and the middle high school before the end of April will both be approved. So all 3 school buildings will be approved. So that'll soon be getting a certification check mark. Technically, we only need 2 of the buildings, but we definitely want all 3. You can keep scrolling there, Shannon. Grocery stores for certification, even though there's 3 in the area, technically only 1 needs to be approved. That is Sanders Market, our local partner. So they are approved. So technically, I'll still try to have some conversations here in year 3 with Save-A-Lot and Walmart, but we have met the certification requirements there. And then with restaurants, just so you know, these are sort of the places that we've talked to and had discussions with, people who are still open and not listed on there. And someone who we just newly talked with late last week and I'm meeting with this afternoon is Ploss's Lunchbox. So I'm very excited about that. So you can keep going down. So you can see that one's in progress. We need 2 restaurants. This is Ashley's area. She'll talk a little bit more in depth. We need, by the end of the project, 9 built environment policies adopted. So again, dealing with the walk bike ability of the community, 5 related to food, and 3 policies related to tobacco. And you can keep scrolling down, Shannon. And then you can keep going through this. I'll let Ashley kind of go through. We just highlighted there some of the policies that already have been adopted. That's what the yellow highlight means. When we talk about community-wide or community-specific metrics, you can just scroll up just a little bit. You can see there's arrows that represent how they're trending. We need to improve in at least 6 of these. So we're talking maybe the childhood obesity, use of EMTA, the transportation bus, visitors at Mead Park. So any of these metrics you see around the community, around Mead Park, use of the trails in the summer or the winter, the use of the farmers market, all these, just keep encouraging the community to use. You can see there's some in there around the city of Corry and some on Impact Corry in terms of grant dollars. So these are our community specific. I'll just encourage you to spend some time looking at that. And then the last part is our well-being metrics. And this really is related to, I don't want to get into much detail with this today, but these metrics are collected through the Real Age Test Survey. Half the households in Corry this year received paper surveys, but we want to try to encourage people to use the electronic survey if possible, because then they get some personal feedback. So the more you can encourage people to participate in the Real Age Test, the more well-being data metrics, data will collect. So this is a little guideline to let you know what we're trying to achieve in terms of metrics to get Corry over that finish line to become a certified community. So that's sort of the formality of the team playbook there, the strategy book.
Excellent. Thank you. Any quick questions on that for Jennifer before we move on? Okay, and I just want to call out, we're thrilled to have Kathy Dahlkemper and representation from our 3 sponsors on the line today. We would not be here in Corry with the Blue Zones Project if it were not for the county executive and the Erie County Department of Health and our 3 sponsors who have made the investment in our community well-being project. So would any of you like to say anything before we continue? Anyone?
Hi, this is Nina from Highmark and Allegheny Health Network. I just want to say that I think you guys are doing such a great job, and I think the Blue Zones team is really energizing the community. And when I see all of the volunteers here, it's really inspiring that you're all working so hard to improve the health and wellness of the community. And I do see it as a catalyst. You can see the life coming back just after a couple years. It's really invigorating the community, and you guys are doing a great job. So thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, Nina. We appreciate it. Okay.
Thank
Anybody
you, Shannon.
else?
This is Kathy Dahlkemper.
Okay.
You caught me in the middle of eating my Blue Zone friendly vegetarian chili for lunch. So I was listening, but I had my video off. Anyway, I just want to reiterate, what Nina just said. I think that what we see happening in Corry is very exciting, and it's encouraging that you really are going to be the lead in our community, because we hope to somehow in some way expand Blue Zones into all of Erie County. But Corry really is the example for all. And I want to thank all that have been involved. And you have a big year ahead. I think it's going to be an exciting year as we are coming out of this pandemic and people can actually get together again. So I look forward to just seeing all the progress that you'll continue to make this year. So go team, keep it up.
That's right. Go team. Thank you, Kathy. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Shannon,
this is
this
Barb.
is Carrie. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Carrie.
All right, so yeah, so this is Carrie from UPMC, and I echo what both Nina and Kathy just said. Really the enthusiasm and the engagement in Corry has been really, really inspiring, and we look forward to continuing to be a partner this year and helping out wherever we can, and look forward to your continued engagement. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, and Barb.
Okay, one of the things is I think there's a lot of excitement in town just in the last couple of weeks, and I hear Blue Zones more frequently, as I shared with you guys yesterday, than I had in previous months, which I think is really good. But the other thing is, one thing Blue Zone has, and I haven't, it's something for everyone, regardless of their socioeconomic status. And, there really aren't a lot of programs that are for everyone, but this truly, you reach out to all ages, all families, and I think it's been very positive.
I think that's great. Thank you, Barb, for sharing that. Can you believe it? It's already halftime. I mean, we're just having so much fun. Okay, where's the halftime show? Hoop, Marnie, Marnie, at least press the yes, give us a little music.
I don't know how loud it is.
Very nice.
I can.
Can you hear it?
Yes, we can. All right, any pom-poms, anyone got your
I
pom-poms?
forgot.
Okay. If you know what, I'm going to keep going. If you need a stretch break, you need to go get water, go. You keep doing what you got to do, but we're going to keep going because I feel like we might be able to give you a little time back in your day today. But feel free to go get what you need and take a restroom break, whatever. We're going to move back into, let me pull up that PowerPoint and we're going to.
Can I get anybody popcorn from the concession stand at Epcot?
Yes, yeah. Can you grab me some, Hoop, while you're going?
I'm eating popcorn the whole time.
And I hope you saw his
Right?
awesome outfit today. Hoop is the leprechaun for the meeting. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, so let's see if we can move through here. I can't manipulate this. Oh, okay, here we go. So let's get to where we just did that. Now, halftime, here we are. Special teams, calling up our special teams. And I'm going to go first with people. As you know, Blue Zones Project works in 3 sectors: people, places, policy. So I just wanted to give you kind of a recap of some of the things that we have been able to accomplish, what we would consider some wins. And I really appreciate what Barb shared about, starting to hear the buzz again out in the community. And I think that, we really made an effort to have a real strong presence as, COVID restrictions were starting to lift. We don't want to be too crazy too soon, but, reminding people, hey, we're here. And as you are really focusing on your health and well-being, take advantage of the resources and the education and everything that we have available to you. So this slide really represents some things that we've been doing lately. The first picture with all of those beautiful, colorful vegetables. We've been doing some cooking classes. We're using the dining hall at the VFW where we're really able to spread out. We're limiting our class size, utilizing Betsy Grinder, who is the owner of Your Daily Serving, which is a wonderful healthy meal delivery system in Corry. So we're excited, and those classes have just about been maxed out every time we've held them. So really excited about that. We've really touched on a completely different group of people, which we are super excited about. Secondly, move naturally. We're following along with the Power 9 lifestyle principles. We really want to get people more active. We want them to work physical activity into their day. This was just at the close of the summer, and we were still able to do some walking moais, spacing ourselves out, wearing our mask, but we were out on the Corry Junction Greenway trails and really trying to support the trail system and getting people outdoors. And I know Ashley will talk about that, so I'm not going to steal the thunder. I'm going to keep going. We also did a whole series in City Park, free activities where we really just wanted to expose people to more of those Power 9 lifestyle principles. So we were able to bring in someone from the YMCA. She is the young lady in the front of the group in this photo in her pink shawl. She has been doing yoga for years, and she led a wonderful free yoga class there at City Park and really helped people learn how to downshift and why that is important to health and well-being. And then finally, we really tried to have a presence in a lot of different community events. So this was at one of the downtown First Friday events, and those are great opportunities for us to get out in front of a lot of people. So this was on the Furry Friend Friday, and we had a little pet photo booth set up and just made a lot of good friends and furry friends also. So here's some opportunities. This is really what I need from you. So when we talk about a team player, everybody has their role, but we all have to pull together, right, to make this strategy work. So my ask of you is, what small business could you open the door for to help me get in there and present the Blue Zone story? Maybe they would host a purpose workshop, or maybe they would be interested in doing a walking moai with their staff. Is there a church that hasn't been involved in Blue Zones yet? Could I get in front of their congregation, or even in front of a small group or youth group? What civic organization or social club could I connect with? So really just thinking, who do you know that you could help introduce Blue Zones to? In addition, we really are encouraging everybody to take that real age test. Jennifer mentioned that when she went through our strategy and our metrics, but that real age test is important because that's how we're going to get that second data set that we're going to be able to put in, right next to year one and start to see how we're doing. Are we making a change to the percentage of people with high blood pressure? Are we dialing it back as far as the number of people with high cholesterol? So we really want to see where we are so that we can see where we need to focus our efforts. If you have never liked our Facebook page and you're on social media, I encourage you, like, share our content, follow us. That really helps to drive some engagement online for us. Also, take advantage yourself of some of these activities. If you yourself have never come to one of the cooking classes or participated in a walking moai or come to a purpose workshop, just come on and do it. It's so much fun, and you're missing out if you haven't had that experience. I love that Marnie and Hoop are here wearing their Blue Zones t-shirts. That's one of the easiest ways you can show your support of the project, is to go around town wearing this Blue Zones t-shirt, because you're going to get a question. Oh, what? I didn't know you were involved in that. Tell me more. So you're a walking billboard for us, and we appreciate it when you do that. And then finally, and I'll share more as an afterward from this meeting, we'll do some follow-up, but we do have some challenges coming up that you can participate in, some step challenges, a mindfulness challenge in the month of April. We'd love to see our participation numbers increase, and look to the team to really take ownership of some of those challenges. So with that, I'm going to move over into Jennifer's area and let her take over and share with you some of her slides.
Yep. Before I do that, does anyone have any questions for Shannon? No. Okay. And like Shannon said, we'll, we're going to be bringing some asks to you in all these areas, people, places, policy, and there'll be a follow-up email with these asks to it, just as a reminder. So we thank you very much for being a team player. So again, my area, schools, grocery stores, restaurants, work sites. I kind of touched on already who's been approved, but I just want to highlight, the primary again is approved, intermediate and the middle high school will soon be approved. Some of the exciting things they're doing is they're establishing what we call Beaver Blue Crew, which is basically a youth-led well-being ambassador group. So the idea is for them to meet monthly, and then there's a little blue board communication board. So the idea is for them to, communicate a healthy message to their fellow students on a regular basis, ongoing basis. So that's something exciting that's going on there. And also at the middle high school, Shannon pilots tomorrow with Victoria Rakowski's experimental food class, a virtual cook along. We're going to start some Blue Zone monthly cooking classes at the high school. So a lot of really exciting stuff going on at the schools. And as Dan said, good lifelong behavioral habits start at a young age. So really excited to be partnering with the schools, and just very grateful for their partnership. Moving into grocery stores, we mentioned Sanders Market is approved. If you haven't caught, we've been doing a lot of Facebook Lives, or you can go back and watch it anytime, some grocery shopping tours with different themes and some cooking demos. So they've been a great avenue and a great partner for us to be able to do a lot of this outreach. We eventually hope to do some of these shopping tours and cooking demos back in person, but Facebook has actually allowed us to outreach to a lot of different people to view these. So really excited about that partnership there. We don't have any restaurants on board, but again, there's been some positive conversations, but I'll have some asks there from you around restaurants. And again, just highlighting some of the work from our work sites, Corry counseling. I mean, Karen, you might have some of the stuff you're really proud of, but I'm excited about your volunteer time off policy that you came up with, where employees get, I think it's like 7.25, I'm just going to round it up to 8 hours a year to go volunteer in the community, and they get paid for it. Really excited about those 5 container gardens you put out in front of your building, growing herbs and vegetables, and ideas to use those with healthy potlucks. So a lot of great stuff there. D&E Machining, I love they put a basketball hoop. Their wellness committee came up with that idea, so people can downshift and move naturally all at the same time and have some fun as they're getting that exercise with the basketball hoops. And I love they came up with a snack honor system too. With healthy snacks. And then Corry Memorial Hospital, which is going to be a highlight. I know you're not open to the public right now, the cafeteria, but they have added a Blue Zone meal to their their weekly cafeteria menu. So just really excited about those Blue Zone meals being added, not just for the employees, but eventually it'll be opened up to the community once COVID allows. So a lot of great things going on at the work sites. So just wanted to share some specific examples, but I do have some asks. So on the next page, so obviously we're moving well. Shane, you can go forward a page. So as I said, we're doing well, with the schools, great partnership there, grocery stores, but just need a little help with the work sites and restaurants. So if you can refer back to your playbook, the team playbook, and again, you'll see which work sites and what restaurants, we've opened conversations with and who seem open to, work with us. So it's just really trying to encourage them to, continue the momentum, keep working with us. We know we've had some challenges over the last year with COVID. Time commitment always seems to be a concern, and having enough staff. So really it's just thinking about how can we turn these challenges into opportunities? How can we encourage them to keep moving forward? My goal is to get all my organizations approved by the end of 2021. I would say restaurants, it might take, 2 to 4 months to get them approved. Work sites, it could take more like 4 to 6 months. So there is a process. So anyone you can have conversations with, open up doors, keep encouraging, thank the work sites, and the restaurants, grocery stores and schools, thank them for partnering with us if they've already been approved. But again, just trying to, the ones who aren't quite there or moving maybe a little slower, just need that encouragement from you. If you happen to be talking to someone or run into them. And I do have a couple people here from, I believe my worksite committee, Hoop Roach and Jen Heiser. And I'll welcome them to say anything around the work sites at this point.
Well, I have to point out that Jennifer has made a lot of visits. We've been writing letters, been sending emails. We've made follow-up visits. So we've met with pretty much all of the manufacturers in town, or at least tried, or the work sites. Corry is evolving. We now have a lot of work sites owned by people that don't live here. So it's a lot harder to get their buy-in. I think we're going to gradually wear them down, but it's a process, and we're trying to sell community pride. We're trying to sell workforce health. We're trying to sell that they can reduce their cost of healthcare. I mean, it should be an easy sell, but it's a little bit of an uphill push right now. So we're doing a series of letters and emails, and we're not giving up. Jennifer, do you want to get into the list of the work sites that we're still working on that haven't been approved, or it's on the slide, I guess, so we don't need to.
It's on the side, Shannon, if you can bring back up the playbook. And as we're bringing that back up, Jen Heiser, do you have anything you want to add? I don't want to leave you out.
But I will say we really haven't gotten any absolute outright no's. We've gotten a lot of come back in the spring, or we're not quite ready yet. I think people are concerned about the time and the cost investment, which really isn't very significant. I don't know. It's just it's sort of a strange thing to try to promote in a workplace. It shouldn't be. And some of the work sites are doing very well. So, I think we just have to stick with it. I'll be honest. I think it's going to take the whole 3 years to get everybody signed up. But we don't. Jennifer and I are on a long-term plan. We're not going to give up. We're just going to keep working away at them. If nothing else, we'll wear them down until they finally say, "Fine, I'll sign. Get out of here."
Is there anyone from a work site, Karen or Frank or Janet, would you like to share a little bit about your experience,
or Barb?
Yeah, or Barb, right, as a work site, or anything, how you've seen the process evolve and the benefit of it?
This is Frank Polanski at D&E Machining. It does take time, and I know with COVID there have been some layoffs, and people have less resources maybe than they did before the COVID, and so staffs has been reduced, and I think that's a factor that comes into play, that people are wearing multiple hats and trying to not only manage and take care of the business, but then do this on top of it. So I think that, to Hoop's point, getting people involved and motivated, that could be part of the challenge.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think that, in the next month or so, we're going to see an upswing. I think that it has been difficult for a lot of businesses, like you said, Frank. They have had to trim down their staff, so they're concentrating on so many other things. Blue Zones comes in and it's like, not one more thing right now. But I think that the reception has actually been good. It's just kind of a fear of the time commitment, but we hope to see that kind of with an upswing here in the next month or so.
Yeah,
Anyone else want to share?
I think once they get started, then the ball rolls from there. It's just, taking those first steps to get started is the challenge. Yeah.
Absolutely. It seems daunting, but then they get into it and then they're like, hey, we can do this.
Exactly.
This isn't
Frank,
so hard.
And Frank, I remember before COVID started, when I was, coming to your wellness meetings, I loved how engaged your committee was, working as a team together. I think that's really important.
Thank you. Yeah, we got a good team here.
Yeah.
That's great.
This is Karen. I was going to mention it really does require a team, and if you have a wellness committee, that's a good place for the team to land. But we got certified as a workplace one day and then shut the building down almost the next. So it's been, most of our folks have worked off site. So I also think that's a challenge if you're meeting with workplaces that don't really have all their folks on site. We're getting back in the saddle. We're at 75% now, and we're going to be at 100% in April. So we're really hoping to revive what we started. And I know if it would help, maybe people that are doing it, have done it, engaging some of the folks that are on the fence, I would be willing to help with that if you think it would be helpful.
I think it'd be great. Thank you, Karen. And, Frank, I don't know if you'd be willing, and Barb, maybe I can, contact you aside from here and just maybe see who and who you feel comfortable reaching out to. If you could send some words of encouragement, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Karen. All right. Anything else before we turn it over to Ashley?
Yeah, so I'll just finish. Yeah. So again, hopefully you all saw the playbook. I know Shannon sent it out, but again, if you can just reference the list, I was going to have Shannon bring it up, but for purposes of time, we'll move into Ashley. Yeah, just take a look at the list of work sites and restaurants, and any encouraging words you can give to help people nudge along. I would appreciate it. And again, please do thank those who have become approved. I need the organizations for their partnership and supporting community well-being. So thanks, everyone.
All right, Ashley with policy.
Hi, everybody. I have to take 1 second and just say how much I'm enjoying seeing everyone's puppy dogs in the videos, because that is a key component of who I am. But, policy had a surprisingly great year in 2020, despite the pandemic challenges. And I feel very fortunate that a lot of my work was able to continue uninterrupted virtually throughout the pandemic. Shannon, I don't know if you want to bring the slideshow back up, but we did have to shift some focus. Even though we do work in 3 areas with built environment, food policy, and tobacco policy, we really pumped the brakes on tobacco policy in year 2, solely because food policy and food access became such a big component of the pandemic, and so many people were seeking assistance that had never sought assistance before. And the way that food was being distributed, we had to get a little bit creative about and help, get food out there to people who needed it and make it easier for people who had never had to access that kind of help before. Fortunately, through the Erie County Food Policy Council and the Department of Health, it was definitely doable, and it worked out, and I think we did a great job. Shannon, I'm seeing like your file list. I don't know.
Oh, you don't see what I'm seeing?
No.
Clearly not. Okay, let's try that again.
Time out, to use a sports reference.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. We're taking a timeout.
Official play review.
Yes. Yeah. Let me just look at this real quick and get right back to you. All right. How's that? Can you see it now?
Good job.
Yeah, that'll work. I was looking for the PowerPoint with the pictures, but whatever.
Oh, I had the PowerPoint.
No.
I thought you were. Oh, I had that. I'll get back to that. No problem. Keep going. Keep going while I pull that up.
Okay. So over the course of 2020, I felt very blessed in terms of what we were able to complete in the outdoors in Corry. There we go. So you will see that we managed to complete our active transportation plan. And so lauded all over the state, because we were actually the only community who received that grant from WalkWorks who were actually able to finish in time because of COVID, and received a number of accolades because we're still able to gather public input in different ways. So we did surveys at the farmers market and on First Fridays. We managed to do a bike giveaway when bikes were nearly impossible to find, to get people's opinions. And we did some digital surveys and hard copy surveys. That just came through really great. And the active transportation plan is in the process of about to be finalized by City Council out here so that it can be used to support some other grants we're working on. Created an Adopt a Lot program in partnership with the city and really the land bank and the RDA. And the initial idea was that as blighted buildings are remediated throughout Corry, that the properties could then be put to better use. And so this example here, this house has since been torn down, but is directly across the street from Reverend Mary's church, and thinking uses like, well, maybe she wants a community garden for her parishioners. And if the lot is not scheduled for rebuild because many of these lots are too small, why not put it towards an attractive and useful use in the community? And so there are lots like this all throughout Corry, and there will be more and more, so that businesses could adopt a lot and take the maintenance off the city, but then use it to create an outdoor space for their employees. Maybe they want to go outside for lunch, or maybe they want to build a community garden or a dog park or a playground, or whatever asset best fits that neighborhood, puts it back into circulation in the community as a green space or a beautiful space, but also then helps assist the city in terms of maintenance. Really fortunate to be able to partner on a couple plans in addition to our active transportation plan this year. Worked on the Corry strategic plan along with Impact Corry and the Erie to Pittsburgh trail plan. There's just been so much advancement in trails this year, and really proud of my Built Environment Committee and my Active Transportation Committee and a lot of other individuals. Marty is here today, talking about trail use and how really highlighting that community asset over the past year. Shannon and I, early on in the pandemic, developed a Trails Tuesday Facebook Live. And so every Tuesday we would go out to the trails and do a Facebook Live and just talk about A, the trails, but B, something specific about them. What is Rails to Trails? What is trail safety? Where are the trails in Corry? Why are trails important? How do they contribute to economic development? All sorts of topics, but excitedly, one of the community metrics Jen touched on was trail usage. And so over 2020, trail usage actually skyrocketed when people were at home during the pandemic. During the summer months, we saw nearly 1,000% increase in trail usage year over year. And then in the winter months, we're talking about a 7,000% increase in trail usage year over year. And sure, some of that has to do with, we got pretty lucky that February's weather was really compliant towards counting, and a lot of people were out there on snowmobiles. But when you see groups of 30 or 40 snowmobilers coming through in succession, you realize the kind of economic impact that those trails can have. If 40 snowmobilers come to Corry on a Friday night and they're eating dinner or getting gas or whatever it may be within the community, that's a lot of money that's coming from somewhere else into our community. And so not just through trails, but through a lot of things, we had a huge focus on economic development, and that's going to continue into year 2 or year 3. Shannon, if you want to bop to the next slide for me. As I touched on, the farmers market and hunger relief really became a huge focus of work in year 2. Keeping the farmers market up and running despite COVID, thanks to Alex Whipple and the Erie County Department of Health, we managed a $1,000 grant for the farmers market, which was used to purchase hand sanitizer stations and some signage to help Corry meet the COVID-19 standards that the state had set for farmers markets. And so Corry actually remained one of the only 2 Erie County farmers markets open throughout the full pandemic because we were able to leverage those grant dollars. And then we did focus a lot on hunger relief, partnering with the Salvation Army and the food pantry and the school district, helping gather volunteers or set up food distributions. We worked with Fat Moms as they were going above and beyond and feeding students over the summer. We've provided new recipes and created a newsletter that goes out with the food pantry distributions, helping people to utilize foods that they may be less comfortable with, or foods that were often redonated that people were receiving distributions, things like beans and oatmeal and just types of things that are so healthy and stretch your dollar really far, but people weren't often very familiar with cooking. And then we partnered again with the Erie County Food Policy Council to create a kind of SNAP WIC how-to so that people could use that for Instacart and buying online through Walmart. Because we also recognize that a lot of people were living in a virtual world that had never had to do that before. And so that's a daunting task to someone who is A, perhaps on assistance for the first time, and B, has never ordered groceries online. But we know that somewhere between COVID and just Northwest Pennsylvania winters, it's a great idea to not have to go to the store and to get your groceries delivered instead. So I am going to pause for a second, ask if anyone has any questions. I do not have a how can you help slide. Policy work, we have taken the approach to not having strategic goals in mind per year because we are trying to do things with grant dollars so that that responsibility does not fall on the city of Corry. So we pick and choose projects we're working on based upon what grant dollars are currently available. So moving into year 3, we will be looking to accomplish a few new things, but also getting back on tobacco policy. I'm currently teaching a one-on-one class for individual who is interested in quitting smoking, and it is going incredibly well. But we do look forward to, as soon as COVID allows, getting some more facilitators trained in the Corry community for the long-term health of the community, as people can learn to help people quit smoking.
Hey, Ashley, you want to touch on the Corry signature dish?
Yeah, and so any of you who were a part of the last couple brainstorm sessions know that this year our team is looking forward to creating a Corry signature dish competition, which will be, ideally, it is still under development, a 4-part series where local restaurants and individuals and clubs and organizations can kind of compete Iron Chef style. We're going to put out a list of Blue Zone's approved ingredients, and people will be able to create a dish and submit it for votes to be featured either on a restaurant menu or here in town. We're looking at doing those at places like the Farmers Market and First Fridays, just to get people in Corry really excited about how you can prepare healthy meals in a different and exciting way. We're going to do a beverage, which would likely be a smoothie or something like that, that really is a breakfast category replacement, but also a lunch and an entree. And then we're toying with the idea of the fourth category actually being a dessert, because desserts are something we all know and love, but would love to put out some healthy ideas for desserts to people. And this also will help us anchor ourselves closer to our agricultural heritage and help people realize that if they're using local ingredients, they're fresher and they're healthier and they taste better. And you can purchase them at the farmer's market, and then you're supporting your friends and neighbors as opposed to purchasing produce from a grocery store that may have been picked weeks earlier and transported here to Corry. So I am always looking for more people to commit to that subcommittee. There is an end date for that one. So if you're interested in food, but maybe not for quite as much of a long haul, I welcome you to reach out to me and help us organize that series of events.
Excellent. Anybody else have a comment, question? Marty, I know you're on the line, and Tina, we heard from you earlier. Anything you want to touch on or mention in regards to the policy work that's taking place?
I think Alex is here too from food policy.
Yes, and Alex is here too. That is correct. Anyone?
Honestly, this is Tina. I guess COVID has definitely hurt our policy in tobacco. I know Marnie and I, we kind of are co-coaching that, and our hearts are definitely in it as far as tobacco goes, but unfortunately, like I said, COVID definitely got in the mix of it. I know Marnie and I really do want to, like Ashley said, we want to become a facilitator to be able to help with that, and I've definitely, been in contact with her to see when there was classes, but it just, COVID has definitely affected that area of it. But we will try to go strong as soon as we have a representative that can step in. And that was the other thing, is they were all working for the health department so hard that we couldn't get that either. So thank COVID. But anyways, it will definitely be strong, right, Ashley?
Yes, it will. I am so lucky to have you both ladies who are still there, even though we've experienced kind of that shift in priority this year. And word on the street is that the health department is slowly but surely coming down from the immense workload they have endured the past year. And I just, I know we haven't said it specifically yet on this call, but our county health department has just been rock stars throughout all of this.
Oh,
and
amazing. We see them on the TV quite often, and I even said to Kathy, it's amazing, and they've done an amazing job. They really have. Hands down to them for all of the work they've put in. And so understanding that, we definitely understand the tobacco part. That honestly, at that point, was probably not the priority. So, but the rest of the stuff that's happened is really exciting. So thank you, Ashley.
I also think that we also have to thank the state of Pennsylvania for passing several of those laws about 21-year-olds and that. So at least we weren't doing something, but the state was doing something for us to help us in this project.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Good point. Thank you, Marnie. Anyone else? All right, let's give it over to Coach Eberline. Give us our season rally cry as we head into a successful third season.
Yes. Well, actually, now that you say that, Shannon, I'm going to interject here something I think we talked about maybe mentioning. So we are coming to our third year, our third season. And as many of you know, it's a 3-year project. So we've been getting a lot of inquiries about, hey, what happens after the third year? What happens when the project's over? I just want to let everyone know that we are in very early discussions, and our sponsors are, and the people in the national team, the Blue Zone. So right now, early conversations and efforts are starting to discuss what sustainability looks like after the 3-year project here in Corry and the expansion into other parts of Erie County. So we do hope this, as Kathy Dahlkemper mentioned, does expand to other parts of Erie County. And again, all eyes are on Corry as a pilot, and they're looking for success here. So with that said, just know that early conversations are starting, but also know that the work that Shannon, Ashley, and myself do around people, places, and policy, we're always trying to think of sustainability when we're implementing the work. Policy will have a lot of sustainability because it is built into a policy, or it's a fixture, it's in the environment, the walk and bike ability of a community, if you think of that. So encouraging that natural movement. But like, for example, with work sites, we encourage them all to have wellness committees so they continue on with all the great work they're doing. So again, we're always looking for that sustainability piece, but just please know that conversations have begun. They're in early stages. And as we know more and can communicate to you, we will definitely share more. But with that said, we still have our metrics to meet. And again, technically our year 3 will end at the end of April of 2022. So we have a little over 13 months. And I want to start with a quote here to kind of cap things off, and I'm hoping Hoop will appreciate this because I took it from Lou Holtz, a past coach for Notre Dame football, and he said, "How you respond to the challenge in the second half will determine what you become after the game, whether you win or lose. But we are going to win. We're going to meet the metrics. We're going to do this as a team together." So I love that quote. It's how you respond to the challenge in the second half. So with that said, we gave some specific asks, around people, places, policy. So helping Shannon open up doors, encouraging people to take the real age test. She didn't mention this, I don't think, but we'll have it in the follow-up email. Like us on Facebook if you're on Facebook, and share our activities through Facebook with your friends and families. My asks are going to be around just keep encouraging work sites and restaurants to work with us. And hopefully that'll be a little bit easier with the nicer weather coming and with the transition with the COVID guidelines. And then a lot of Ashley's asked, if you want to help out with that Corry signature dish, if you'd like to become a facilitator to teach smoking cessation classes. But many of her asks are also embedded in the community specific metrics, so trail usage. So please use the trails, especially I believe we do counting during the month of July. Support the farmers market all summer, but again, we do our specific counting in the month of August. Mead Park participation. So just any of those community specific metrics, please support those too. Really it'd be nice to have a lot of these goals met by the end of 2021. It'd be nice not to have to come down right to the wire in April of 2022. So again, as a team, we appreciate all the support that you can give. Keep being Blue Zone ambassadors. And with that said, we're also, Shannon will follow up with that email. And so the ask we're asking of you, she's going to include in there what we call the team commitment card. And I don't know, keep it in the sports team, if any of you have seen a movie called When the Game Stands Tall, it's with Jim Caviezel. If you're like me, I can get very into movies. I needed a big tissue box. I went through a lot of tissues. There was a couple sad parts, but it's so motivating and inspiring. It is about I don't want to give it all away, but he is a football coach in a private high school in California, and they get this big winning streak. But anyway, he asks his team players to write team commitment cards every week for the next game day. So Shannon, to incorporate that little theme, she'll have some team commitment cards. So again, how can you help open up doors? How can you help with conversation? So, we just love to know how you're supporting us so we know what you're doing as a team player. So, so be watching up for that follow-up email from Shannon. And so before we bring it in for the last team huddle, there's a little team break. Any final comments or questions for the team from anyone participating here today? No, everyone's quiet. Shannon, any final comments from you before we bring it in?
I don't think so. Let's bring it in, people.
All right. Think of a game. We're all bringing our hands in. You know how you put your hands all stacked on top of each other? And on the count of 3, we're going to say, let's go Team Corry. So everyone, I'll just put my 5 up. There you go. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's go Team Corry. Thanks everyone for your time today.
All right. Thank you all. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, thank you. You too.
Same to you, Soap.
Great meeting.
Awesome.
It was a great
Thanks for being here.
Shannon, we'll stay on a few minutes if you want to.